In this vast, unforgiving world, the very first condition of survival is simply to be born. But I want you to imagine a scenario where, before you even take your first breath, death is already knocking at your door. Picture this. Deep within a dark, rain-soaked rainforest, a tiny egg is resting in a hollowed-out tree, just moments away from hatching.
So it brings us to a massive, high-stakes question. Will this little life actually survive? I mean, before this tiny creature even sees the light of day, the odds are heavily, heavily stacked against it. It's a brutal environment out there in the canopy. It's a place where survival is the exception, not the rule, and every single day is going to be an absolute fight. And the stakes are incredibly high before the bird is even born. While that egg sits quietly in the dark, predators like tree snakes and opportunistic cools are already creeping around the branches just outside the nest. One wrong move, one tiny scent caught on the wind, and the journey is over before it even begins. Here is the 100-day survival roadmap we're tracking in today's explainer. Day 1 as a fragile egg, a critical hatch on day 11, a terrifying first flight on day 55, and ultimately total independence by day 100. Let's dive right in. To really understand the danger here, we have to talk about the sheer scale of this environment. 50 feet. The parents have carved this nest straight up in an ancient, towering tree. A single slip from this height guarantees an immediate end. Right now, nestled safely inside that wooden fortress, 2 fragile white eggs rest delicately on soft wood shavings. The parents, with their striking, vivid red crests and incredibly strong pale bills, are taking turns. They're carefully incubating the eggs, trading off duties day and night, harboring literally all their hopes for the next generation in this tiny, dark space. Fast forward to day 11, and the harsh reality of hatching is just staggering. The bird that emerges is completely devoid of feathers. It is entirely blind. It is totally, utterly defenseless against the wild, unforgiving jungle just inches outside its wooden walls. It is raw, vulnerable life in its purest form. And almost immediately upon hatching, the chick becomes what can only be described as a furnace of hunger. The energy required to grow is massive. There is a constant, relentless demand for food. The parents are forced into overdrive, hunting high-quality protein like grubs and insects. They make hundreds, yes, hundreds, of frantic trips every single day, aggressively peeling tree bark just to feed this bottomless pit. But it's not just about getting enough to eat. It's about surviving the shadows. Imagine a sudden rustle in the leaves outside. Every single microscopic sound in the jungle demands instant, absolute silence from the chick inside the nest. If it makes a peep at the wrong moment, those predators we talked about earlier will zero right in on its location. Sometimes, though, those sounds are much louder. A sudden shriek from monkeys in the canopy, or the piercing cry of a hawk overhead. These aren't just background noises. They are a literal message of death. When these alarms sound, the parents are forced to rush back immediately, risking their own lives to physically block the nest entrance with their bodies. Okay, assuming they survive these early terrors, things finally start to change. From day 12 to 40, we see massive physical growth. The chick starts growing its signature black and white feathers. And most excitingly, that tiny, iconic red crest begins to emerge on its head. The incredible transformation from a fragile, featherless newborn to a recognizable pale-billed woodpecker is well underway. By day 50, it hits its full form. It finally looks like a real woodpecker. And for the very first time, it stands proudly at the door of its wooden nest, looking out into the wild, vast expanse of the jungle. It can finally feel the wind. Its wings are fluttering, instinctively preparing for the monumental task that comes next. But this brings up a genuinely terrifying reality. If those brand new wings fail, what waits 50 feet below? That massive drop we discussed earlier is no longer just an abstract concept. It's the immediate, looming reality for this young bird's first major test. Day 55, the leap of faith. This is it, the climactic moment. The parents are perched in a neighboring tree, calling out, encouraging it, and then it jumps. Imagine this in slow motion. The bird fluttering frantically, pure instinct taking over as it fights gravity with every ounce of strength in those newly formed wings, aiming desperately for the safety of the neighboring tree trunk. Thud! The successful grip of freedom, it hits the bark, its claws dig in, and it actually holds on. You can almost feel the immense relief and pride from the parents. It made it across. But as incredible as this moment is, we have to remember, while it has finally learned to fly, it must now figure out how to survive out in the open. Now, let's look at what happens from day 80 to 100 as it truly becomes the king of the canopy. It starts drumming wood entirely independently. It develops its own powerful signature knock-knock rhythm, striking the wood with its beak harder and harder. It is now surviving the blistering sun, the torrential rain, and evading predators all by itself. It has officially mastered the harsh rules of the jungle. To survive this intense new lifestyle, the woodpecker relies on a jaw-dropping biological feature, a shock absorber skull. This natural helmet allows its brain to withstand the bullet-like speed and sheer impact of its constant drumming. Without it, its own strength would literally be fatal. It's the ultimate biological survival tool. Just take a second to process this epic 100-day transformation. On day 1, we had a fragile blind chick trapped in a dark hole, completely at the mercy of the world. Today, on day 100, we have an independent survivor with a brilliant red head and a remarkably strong pale beak. It went from completely helpless to being one of the strongest, loudest voices in the entire jungle. Which brings us to our final takeaway. Life always finds a way. Over just 100 days, this incredible creature conquered gravity, predators, and its own fragility to become a master of the canopy. It leaves us with a profound question to think about. As you look up at the trees tomorrow, what other invisible epic battles for survival are playing out right about our heads, entirely unnoticed?